Hi there. So you may have just clicked on this video and you might be wondering, what the hell is an anarcho-capital Leninist Posadist social homo ethno national monarchy and what are the values of this party? Because we're a smaller party, you probably haven't heard of us before. So the main reason that we're a lesser known party is due to the liberal soy cuck neo-Marxist CCP media, but not only that, the election rigging conservative homophobic fascists also block us out because it suits both of their statist and liberal agendas. Now, the reason they do this is to keep your head low and just shy away from the morally superior ideology of anarcho-capital Leninist Posadist Ethno Eugenic Homo Transhuman National Monarchism. And it's just too bad that they do that because honestly, I think everyone can agree on this party and the values that we stand for. So for starters, most anarcho-capital Leninist Posadist Ethno Eugenic Homo Transhuman National Monarchists believe in a nearly full annihilation of the state, excluding a small provisional government ruled by one single monarch with absolute power that's voted on by the people right after the Posadist fallout ends. And the rule of this monarch would be to act as kind of a god king and enforce the will of the people, which I guess is a more complex version of social libertarianism with an added mix of eugenics and a touch of homo nationalism. But, for better or for worse, this is the most moral way to run a society, objectively speaking. So, I mean, I guess I could give you an example of how the military would work. I'll get more into the military and how that works later on specifics. I'm just mean how you would sum it up. So basically, let's say that there's an issue, either abroad or within the state. There's a domestic disturbance. The monarch would basically send the libertarian death squads in to take care of the issue. It's pretty simple, honestly. Now, the purpose of the government in such a society would be to carry out the will of the people as well as the anarcho monarch and mainly just to redistribute the earnings of the people in an egalitarian fashion. Just make sure that there's a proper equity in the nation to all those deemed worthy. Now, people that aren't deemed worthy, I'm talking about straights, people that are genetically, culturally inferior, they would get sent down to the crank labs. Now, naturally, the crank labs would be located in the Undercity, just anywhere out of sight underground, and they actually have a good nature, they have a good intention to them. They can give a second chance at life to those that are deemed inferior, generating power on treadmills, hand cranks, you name it. Now, the benefit of having crank labs is not only an energy source for the state, but also doubled down with that, you get a military, because these people are going to be generating power on treadmills, just using physical labor. Think exercise bikes and just go forward from there. Not only is that energy harvested, but you can also harvest the energy that they are building up in their muscles. All these massive gains that they're going to be getting from working out all day long. This group of people can also double as a militia. Now you have a giant, strong military of ripped, beefy people. All right, these are the people you want fighting for your nation, not the ethno homo eugenic nationalists, because we need them to keep advancing the transhumanist goal, which is to achieve a post-human future as soon as possible. Now, if energy is taken care of, the rest of the society can focus on things that matter, such as advancing, human research, genetic research, and achieving a post-human future as soon as possible. Now, this could be advanced even further if we could somehow figure out how to convert this energy being created by the inferior crank labbers into food. In that case, which I don't think it'll take that long to develop this kind of technology, our time as a whole that it takes to get to post-humanism. So it's not having to eat, having lunch breaks, having to make food, having to make dinner, all this time that you're spending with other people. When you eat, you're not just spending time alone. This is a social event that's going on. If you reduce that, if you remove that completely, efficiency will just exponentially grow. And on top of that, they get to keep their lives. Now, at the same time, while the government's main role is to fulfill a mainly leftist ideological goal, which is creating an egalitarian society, we're still going to remain culturally right. Think of an anarcho-capitalist social atmosphere, meaning that there would be little or no regulation whatsoever on things like sales tax, property tax, real estate tax, aside from the certain amount of money that's taken out of your paycheck every year in order to fulfill the egalitarian goals of the society. And there would be no regulation whatsoever on things like fishing poles, drug use, guns, recreational nukes, etc. Now, at the same time, this is a voluntary society, and you're probably thinking, how in the world would you get every single person on the planet to agree with something like this? Now, the main part of our entire goal here, the whole way we get here, is by nuking the entire world, and while rebuilding. All right, while rebuilding, folks, this is the kind of socioeconomic system that would come up naturally due to its high level of morality. Now, this is just an objective truth of what would happen due to several simulations being run by very, very high people. I'll link those sources down in the description. And it's just an interesting thought to think about, that this is what the human mind resorts to naturally. Now, the main argument you might hear back when discussing anarcho-capitalist, Leninist, Posadist, Ethno Eugenic Homo Transhuman National Monarchist theory is that the crank labbers, left to their own devices in undercities, might develop their own technology and replace themselves with one-to-one self-replicating nuclear battery powered duplicates, while they work on a way to take over the perfect society that has been established above them. And I truly don't have an answer to that. Unless they're kept really in check underground, they might escape. And on that note, I'm going to leave off this video with a question. What would you do about the escaped crank labbers, which have hypothetically replaced themselves with one-to-one nuclear powered duplicates? Now for this example, we're just going to be assuming that you're not doing checks to make sure they're still carbon-based life forms, they're still made of cells, they have blood, all that. Also, on the topic of the crank labbers, I forgot to mention this earlier when talking about the military, we could give them titanium skin or something, or make them bulletproof, and they would just be absolute units. We would be able to dominate the entire world. International anarcho, etc. ism. Pretty poggers.